Hi, everyone. Welcome to Compostable. Firstly, let me briefly introduce you to our team. We work with our external partner, the Climate Research and Education Foundation, and their overarching mission is to improve practices and stature of the composting industry. We collaborate closely with our external mentor, Emily McGill, as well as our internal mentor, Todd. Our team has 3 members, Ali, Cecilia, and Kristof, that's me, and we receive a lot of help from our TA Vida. So the big picture problem we are facing here is the inconceivable amount of plastic waste being generated every single year. The production of plastic has reached 400 million tons annually and keeps rising at an ever-increasing rate. According to several national agencies, containers and packaging are now the single biggest contributors to solid waste generation. This has sparked a biodegradable packaging revolution, with dozens of new brands now offering fully compostable or biodegradable packaging products. These biodegradables have become a huge market with a projected revenue of over $26 billion by 2026. Unfortunately, these biodegradables have not been the solution we had hoped for. Currently, there is growing tension between manufacturers of these biodegradable products who are eager to capitalize on this expanding market and composters who frequently encounter sizable pieces of these so-called biodegradables in their compost, even after industrial processing under standard conditions. However, for us to achieve a circular economy that is one that repurposes waste like packaging into resources such as compost, it's crucial that these biodegradable items completely break down in composting facilities. And this is where the CREF, our partner organization, comes into play. They launched the Compostable Field Testing Program, or CFTP, which collaborates with multiple anonymous North American composting facilities. This initiative involves sending a standardized set of products for decomposition trials under various conditions like temperatures or moisture levels. After a period of time, residuals are assessed and results are returned back to CREF for further analysis. And here is an example of a product subjected to these trials, a 100% compostable PLA cup. The object is weighed and photographed before the trial. It is then first removed after 37 days, and its mass and surface area residuals are recorded. Then it is recovered once more after 67 days to gather the same metrics. The mass and surface area residuals are indeed the primary types of data that we work with. And as such, the Compostable Field Testing Program has 3 major objectives. Firstly, to verify whether these products actually decompose under various conditions. Secondly, to verify, to support the labeling of truly biodegradable products. And thirdly, to restore the trust between manufacturers of biodegradable products and composters.
Our team helps the CREF to achieve their goals with 3 steps. The first step is to perform data cleaning on all of the data sets that the CREF has collected throughout different facilities so that it could be transformed into a relational database that they can further add to in the future. Given that the database will likely grow much larger as CREF continues with its research, the second step is to create a data schema where we can group their data into smaller data tables that are easily manageable for conducting analyses and creating visualizations in the future. And the last step is to build a public-facing dashboard that displays results of our disintegration rate analysis using existing field test data. The CREF can then use this dashboard to better inform the public, but especially the composters, of what products are truly biodegradable, as well as to inform them of the best practices in composting as well. With this project, we hope to contribute to alleviating the aforementioned tension between biodegradable manufacturers and composters, as well as the larger objective of advancing environmentally sustainable organics recycling. And on the next slide, we can see that the data for the CREF used in this project comprises of 16 trials stored in separate Excel spreadsheets. And after our team has taken time to explore the information in each of these trials, we created pipelines to transform the spreadsheets into cleaned and organized CSV files, which can then be easily stored in a Postgres database. We also created a generalizable structure as shown with 6 separate tables for each of the trials conducted. I want to draw your attention to the center of the data schema, the observations table, where it stores a key measure called the percent residual. And as Kristof has previously introduced, it measures how much of an item remains after decomposing for a period of time. With this measure stored in an organized structure, we are able to merge it to different tables and analyze how differences in facilities, trial conditions, items, bags, or methods used in trials can impact the percent residuals of the products. And our hope with this structure is that it will ease the data cleaning process for the CREF as they incorporate future trials into their database, where they can directly input and store important composting data in an organized way.
Here is our lovely dashboard for residual analysis. It was designed to show how different atoms and atoms of different material groups decompose differently. This dashboard allows users to select either several trials or all trials for analysis. It also allows users to filter trials based on decomposing technology as is shown in the drop box. And users can view the residual results based on mass or surface area. Additionally, they have the option to filter atoms by material class, choosing from high level, generic, and specific material categories. I'll just view all atoms by choosing atom types. Furthermore, we provide an option to limit residuals to 100% if you click the box here. Why we add the feature is because there are a lot of atoms, they actually absorb moisture underground and they actually add weight after decomposing, which can be seen as anomalies. As you can see, if uncheck the box, it would be very messy and lose a lot of information. Okay, a user case could be, suppose I'm a composter and I'm about to find which materials really break down well. I will focus on generic material categories for analysis. If you look at the dashboard, turns out those thin rigid biopolymers over 75 millimeter actually decompose pretty nicely, but the thin biopolymers and mixed materials, also fibers, they not so much. Knowing this, I might be more open to accepting certain types of compostable plastics. For example, this rigid biopolymer over 75 millimeter at my facility. And finally comes to the recommendation part. We provide recommendations from two aspects. One is to standardize data entrance, and the other is to enhance data integrity. For standardization, first, we recommend CREF to have standardized templates for table entrance. Now it's relying on different facilities to send their own data, and everyone's doing it their own way. What we need is a standardized form that everyone uses to submit the information. Even better would be if we could have a web interface where facilities can directly enter their data. Secondly, we recommend uniqueness across all tables. Make sure that every table has its own unique ID, as it makes it way easier to merge the tables. Also, it's really important that we keep all our information for each table in one place, because in the current data, having it spread out over several different sheets could make things confusing to decide which source to actually use. Lastly, we recommend clearly defining acceptable entrance for each column. For example, trial stage. Specify entrance like loading, first removal, second removal, because in the current data, they're using different terms for trial stage. For data integrity enhancement, we propose introducing a bag missing column, because in the current data, when a bag is missing, it's mentioned in the notes column, which contains various types of information, not exclusively about missing bags. We believe that absence of a bag is crucial. Therefore, we propose introducing a specific bag missing column to clearly identify missing bags and to enhance the tracking and analysis. Also, we propose distinguishing 0 from NA for atom weight, because in the current data set, a missing entrant can mean that the atom has completely broken down. So we recommend to use a 0 to mark atoms that have fully decomposed. And if the data is really missing, just leave it blank. This way, we can be sure about what's actually happened to each atom. For next steps, the team can work on adding more features to the dashboard. For example, adding atom filter and trial conditions filter. Also, they can work on deploying the app using a cloud database, as the cloud database is more in line with the production level application. Furthermore, the team can build models to answer which trial conditions are more likely to impact decomposition rate, which can get future controlled experiments. And that's all for our presentation. Thanks for listening.